Hello Capricorn, Sun, Rising, and Venus, and welcome to your reading. So Capricorn, today we're going to go over your overall energy as well as your person's overall energy. We're going to see how the both of you are currently viewing this relationship and how you guys feel about it, and what actions you guys plan on taking each other's direction and or moving forward. Just keep in mind that the roles can be reversed, so you might find yourself resonating with the person to the right of me and then you do with the person to the left of me, and that's okay. Sometimes that actually does happen, so just kind of pick and choose who you resonate more so with. Also keep in mind this is a general reading, so this reading may or may not resonate with you. If it doesn't, definitely feel free to check out your other placements. But with all that being said, Capricorn, let's get started. Now, as far as your overall energy is concerned, we do have trust. The situation's calling for you to have faith. Okay. Let's look at your person's energy. What's the overall energy for the person Capricorn is connecting with or will be connecting with? We do have very soon. Clearly decide what you want so it comes to you now. Let's see the overall energy though for this connection. What's the overall energy for this connection? We have chemistry. Okay. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. As far as the overall, energy is concerned, we do have forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. I think this advice is for you, to be honest, Capricorn, especially because you do have trust. The situation's calling for you to have faith. There's somebody here that you're either currently connecting with or you're going to find yourself connecting with very, very soon. Regardless if you're currently connecting with this person or not, there's just a lot of potential, between you and this person that you're either currently connecting with or will be connecting with very, very soon. It is in your best interest that you try your hardest to not allow past experiences to, affect you within this connection. Try your hardest to just kind of leave the past in the past and not, assume the worst, when it comes down to this person that you either currently find yourself connecting with or will find yourself connecting with very soon. But I feel like this message is actually for you, not necessarily for them, okay? With very soon and chemistry out here, very soon is very similar to the Two of Wands, and before the Two of Wands comes the Ace of Wands, which speaks to our own personal wants and desires. I think that this person, they just know that you are what they basically want. They're very clear on you are what they essentially want. This to me feels like it's going to be like a very reassuring reading for you in regards to this connection that you currently find yourself in with this person, or you're going to eventually find yourself in. All right, let's see how you're currently viewing this relationship, Capricorn. How does Capricorn currently view this relationship? Okay. So I am definitely getting that you recently met someone new / started talking to someone new. So this to me feels like the very beginning stages of a relationship. So you're currently dating someone / getting to know someone. They could be an air sign strongly, so a Gemini, Libra, possibly an Aquarius. Doesn't necessarily have to be the case, or a water sign, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. But regardless of this person's actual zodiac sign, I see you trying your hardest to just, go with the flow and take it day by day. I feel like it's been a while since you put yourself out there. I am definitely getting that. So there's a lot of nervousness, I would say, and anxiety, and just anxiousness coming from you. But I feel like it's, it's because it's been a while since, you put yourself out there. Maybe you took a huge break from dating. That's a possibility, just to kind of focus on you. Nothing wrong with that. But I feel like now that you're deciding to put yourself out there, I feel like you're slowly but surely, getting the hang of it. I just kind of see you overthinking things a little bit, possibly even allowing anxiety to kind of get the best of you just a little bit. But I do like the fact that you're trying your hardest to just not overthink it, just go with the flow, and see where life could possibly take you and this person is basically what I'm getting. Okay, let's look at this person. How does this person currently view this relationship with Capricorn? How does this person currently view this relationship with Capricorn? So we do have the Page of Swords, we got the Nine of Pentacles, and then we also have the Moon. Okay. This person looks at you in a very, very beautiful lighting. You know, I am definitely getting that strongly. They look at you as somebody who's very independent, you know, somebody who takes very good care of themselves, somebody who's very smart and intelligent, somebody who's very, very hardworking. You know, they also love the fact that you're like very like mysterious too. You know, this person likes the fact that you can be very predictable at times, but they also like the fact that, you know, you could be very unpredictable at times. So, you know, that's something that this person really does like about you. And that's what really does intrigue them the most about you, is that you can be very predictable at times, but you could also be very unpredictable at times. So I feel like you keep this one over here like on their toes. It's like they just never know what they're going to get from you, or honestly even expect from you. And they really do like it. They really do like it. At the bottom of the deck, we do have the 10 of Cups. We also have the 2 of Pentacles. And then we also have the 5 of Cups. Okay. I do feel like prior to meeting you, this person was, you know, in a long-term committed relationship with someone. It kind of looks like it didn't work out between them and whoever it is that they were once upon a time romantically involved with. And I feel like this person was like, you know, for the most part, very like, you know, bummed out and also hard on themselves on top of that. And I feel like it has a lot to do with the fact that, you know, when they get into like a relationship with someone, like, you know, they're in it for the long run. You know what I mean? They truly are. So the fact that it just didn't work out between them and whoever it is that they were once upon a time romantically involved with, like, you know, I feel like they're really bummed out about it. You know, but they're really, really hoping that like with you, that if it does reach a serious point, that it actually does work out and last the test of times, because it's not somebody who wants to continue to like, you know, jump from person to person, relationship to relationship. Like, they just want to be with someone that, you know, is going to be there, you know, right by their side through the good and the bad times. You know what I mean? That's what they want, because they don't want to jump from person to person relationship. They don't want to freaking do all of that. So yeah, they're really hoping that, you know, with you, dude, it actually lasts the test of times. That's what they're hoping. Like, if it does reach that point, like, they're really hoping that it does, like, you know, last, because they don't want to just, you know, keep experiencing failed relationship after failed relationship. This person might even have children. If this person does have children, you know, this is that type of person that, you know, like doesn't want to like, you know, introduce like, you know, more like, you know, men and or women to like their children. You know, they want somebody, like I said, who's like gonna like honestly be in their life, you know, for the long run. You know, they don't want, you know, somebody who's going to be in their life temporarily. Like, they're looking for a long-term committed relationship, you know, somebody that, you know, they could build with. You know, if this person does have children, you know, somebody that they can, you know, introduce, you know, their child and or children, you know, to, and it has to be somebody who's going to be a good stepmom or a good, you know, stepdad. So I am definitely getting that. All right. So let's jump back over to you and see how you're currently feeling. How does Capricorn currently feel about this relationship? So we do have the Justice card. We got the King of Wands. And then we also have the Chariot. Okay, I like this. I like this a lot. And then we have the Page of Wands here for the overall energy. I feel like you're perceiving this person, you know, as somebody who is definitely looking for something serious. I feel like you're also perceiving this person as somebody who, you know, for the most part is very, very serious about you. You know, and, you know, getting to know you and spending time with you and developing a relationship with you. You know, that's just how you're perceiving them, just kind of based off of how they're showing up in this dynamic that they share with you. You can see how consistent they are. You can see how persistent they are. You know, you can see that, you know, this person really wants to like, you know, get to know you and develop a relationship with you. And I feel like you really like that. I feel like you really like the fact that this person is definitely taking you in this dynamic that they share with you seriously. I think that you like the fact they're being very consistent, very persistent with you. You know, I feel like just based off of what you're seeing thus far from this person, you know, it's causing you to really, really like this person, but it's also causing you to think, okay, wait a minute, like, you know, this person might just be, you know, the one for me. But I do see you trying your hardest to not get too, like, you know, carried away and stuff like that. You know, despite the fact that this person's showing you how serious they actually are about you and this dynamic that they share with you, and you really, really do like it, you're still like, okay, let me just calm down. Let me not get too excited just yet. Let me just calm down. How does this person currently feel. So we do have the 5 of Wands, we do have the 8 of Cups, and then we also have the 4 of Pentacles. The bottom of the deck, we have the 10 of Swords. Oof. Okay, with the 6 of Cups and 3 of Swords. I do feel like this person has, you know, unfortunately for them, I do feel like this person does have, you know, abandonment issues due to like how that previous relationship played out. You know, of course, this could have a lot to do with, you know, childhood trauma. You know, that's also a possibility. You know, maybe this person didn't grow up with, you know, a mom. Maybe this person didn't grow up with a dad. You know, that's a possibility. But I am definitely getting that this person has abandonment issues, unfortunately. And it could be, you know, stemming all the way from like childhood, or it could have a lot to do with this previous relationship that they were a part of. I feel like if this has anything to do with like, you know, the previous relationship that they were a part of, you know, I feel like they honestly gave it their all to that person. That person decided to end up leaving them in the end. I don't feel like they're shocked by it, that this person ended up leaving them in the end. I don't think that they're shocked by it. It's as if they kind of knew that this person would eventually do this to them as far as like abandon them and leave them is concerned. But nonetheless, they're still hurt by it. You know what I mean? I feel like due to the way this person, you know, did them, you know, it did definitely cause this person to develop, you know, abandonment issues. You know, it's like now anybody who walks in their life, it's like they can't help but to think that that person's going to end up abandoning them. That person's going to end up, you know, leaving them, and they don't want to go through that. I'm also getting that in this previous relationship, they found themselves essentially feeling like they weren't good enough, but it's because that person that they were with made them feel like they weren't good enough. So there's some insecurities there too. So abandonment issues, you know, insecurities like surrounding like, you know, them, you know, feeling like they're not good enough. I can't emphasize this enough. I just kind of feel like this person is like just really hoping that you're not going to turn around and make them feel like they're not good enough. I just feel like this person's really hoping that you're not going to turn around and like, you know, abandon them, especially when, you know, shit gets hard, because you know, that's something that they've basically noticed when it comes down to like the romantic relationships they've been in. It's like the moment, you know, shit gets hard or whatever the case may be, it's like people are like very quick to like up and leave them, you know, like this person comes off to me as somebody who's very realistic when it comes down to being in a, you know, romantic relationship with someone. You know, realistically speaking, you're going to have your ups and downs, you know, and then it doesn't matter who you get involved with, you're going to have your ups and downs. That's besides the point. You know, I just kind of feel like, hold on, I have to take this call. My apologies, Capricorn, but we're back. But yeah, so like, as I was saying, you know, with this, you know, person that you're connecting with, just, you know, something to be aware of. You know, I just kind of feel like this person, you know, realizes that, you know, with the people that they end up getting involved with, it's like the moment, you know, like things get tough and challenging, it's like that person, you know, that they're with is very quick to like, you know, leave them. Like they want somebody who's going to be, you know, in their life, you know, for better or for worse, you know what I mean? And they feel like they've just been dealing with people who only want to be with them, you know, when things are good, when things are great, but like when things are bad, it's like, you know, people are just very quick to just abandon them and just up and leave them. You know, even when like the person that they're with does something to upset them or hurt them or bother them or whatever the case may be, like they're not the type of person that's going to be like, you know what, you're making me unhappy right now, I'm done with you. You know what I mean? Like this is that type of person that, you know, like they'll go through the emotions, like, yeah, like that person upset me, they hurt my feelings, they kind of let me down back there, disappointed me back there, but you know what, I love them, I'm going to still try to make this work, you know? But with the people that they get involved with, it's not like that. It's not like that whatsoever. It's like the moment things get challenging, the moment things get hard, you know, that person becomes instantly unhappy, and then, you know, they eventually like end up leaving them. They want somebody who's going to be in their life, you know, through the good and the bad times, you know, for better or for worse. Is basically what I'm getting. You know, this is somebody who does come across to me as somebody who would love to get married one day. I am definitely getting that. Okay, what actions Oh, so another thing that I wanted to mention before I dig into you and your energy, again, at the end of the day, they don't really know what to honestly anticipate or expect from you. They understand there's only one way to find out. And that does kind of require them to give you in this dynamic that they share with you a chance. Like if you abandon them like everybody else, then you do. If you turn around and you leave them, the moment things get hard and challenging, you do. I just kind of feel like this time around, they're just going to like play it safe, you know what I mean? And really take their time to really, really get to know you. I am definitely getting again that this person might have a child and or children. So it might take this person a little while before they introduce you to their child and or children. I am definitely getting that, as well. Okay. Going back to you, what actions will Capricorn take towards this person or moving forward? I like this. I feel like, you feel really good, about this connection. Granted, you don't really know what life has in store, for the both of you. You don't know if this is honestly going to work out, or not. You don't know if this is going to blow up in your face at a later date or not, but you're just going based off of what your intuition is telling you. And what your intuition is telling you is go for it. Go build with them. Go be happy with them. Go start a life with them. So I just feel like you're going based off of, what your intuition is telling you. And because your intuition is giving you the green light, embracing the level of the unknown, for you is very, very easy because your intuition is giving you the green light. You come off to me as somebody who really does, rely on, your intuition. So, on an intuitive level, because you feel really good about them and your relationship with them, you're deciding to go for it, even though you don't really know what to anticipate and or expect, because your intuition is saying, like, you don't have anything to worry about, like, go for it, go be happy with them, go build with them. I see you doing just that. Now, at the bottom of the deck, we do have the Hierophant out here. The Hierophant basically speaks of, unity between two people. It speaks of marriage. It speaks of, commitment, and devotion. It also speaks of, religion as well. But, I am definitely getting that this next chapter, that you're about to start, it's going to be a big one. I am definitely getting that. This is going to be, a huge, it's going to be like a huge, life-changing, event for you. It's like you go from being single and alone to being in a full-blown committed relationship. And this connection between the two of you, it could lead, to marriage. So, yeah, I am definitely getting that. All right, what actions will this person take towards Capricorn or moving forward? Okay, so you're dealing with a chronic overthinker. Okay. All right. With the Seven of Swords to the Devil to the Five of Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles can, like I said, represent somebody who has abandonment issues, okay? I feel like they're allowing this previous relationship that they were in to kind of affect them within this dynamic that they share with you. It's like their abandonment issues are starting to kick in. It's like, their trust issues are starting to kind of kick in a little bit is basically what I'm getting, which is causing them to kind of, overthink things a little bit when it comes down to you. I don't even want to say a little bit because I am getting that they are a chronic overthinker. But that's the thing, is that they're confusing those two, and I don't think that they realize it. I feel like sometimes people tend to like confuse what their mind is telling them with their intuition. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what's happening here with this person. This person, again, the swords, it represents our thoughts, right? In tarot. This person thinks that one day you're going to abandon them. They think one day, you're going to leave them, and possibly even for somebody else. And there's a huge possibility that in the previous relationship that they were part of, they could have experienced that, where that person that they were dealing with left them to go be with another man or another woman. So this person thinks that you might turn around and do the exact same thing to them. You might turn around and leave them for another man, leave them for another woman, or just outright leave them. The moment things get challenging, the moment things get hard. because this person is experiencing a lot of negative and intrusive thoughts about you, it's causing them to naturally not feel so good about this connection. And because it's causing them to not feel so good about this connection, it's causing them to feel like their intuition is trying to tell them something about you, like that they should like avoid you and not pursue you or entertain you because it's a bad idea and it's just outright dangerous and foolish and things like that. I don't think that this person's consciously aware of what's really going on their end. It's not that their intuition is telling them, stay the fuck away from Capricorn. Like, just run. Like, run as fast as you can. No. Their intuition is not telling them. Their intuition is not telling them these things. It's their mind that's telling them these things. It's their past traumas that's making them think this way. The best way that I can describe what they're going through, that's kind of like, it's kind of like the epitome of like listening to like a really, really sad song over and over and over again. You're going to notice that your mood is going to start to essentially change. So let's just say prior to you playing that really sad Adele song, you know, like you were in a good mood, you were happy, you know, everything was nice, everything was great. And then you started playing that super sad Adele song, you know what I mean? It's like, you're going to start to notice your mood changing. You're going to go from really, really happy to really, really sad all of a sudden, because you're, you know, you're listening to the lyrics. You're thinking about the lyrics. You're probably like applying, you know, what Adele is saying in certain songs, you know, to certain things that you've experienced in life, and now you're thinking about that too, and then you automatically, you know, find yourself, you know, becoming sad all of a sudden. You know, you become, you know, angry, you know, all of a sudden. Just because you feel sad and angry, you know what I mean, doesn't necessarily mean your intuition is trying to tell you anything. It just means that you started listening to that very sad Adele song and you kept playing it over and over again, and then you started thinking about your ex and how they did you and how that's fucked up and how dare they, and after everything I've done for them. And then, you know, you find yourself feeling sad. You find yourself feeling down. You find yourself just being, you know, angry and resentful, you know, but just a few seconds ago, you were happy, you were fine. So that's basically what's happening here with this person. They're just not consciously aware of it, because with the Seven of Swords to the Eight of Swords, that creates an Ace of Swords at play, which basically represents clarity. It represents the sword of truth. They're not seeing this clearly or accurately. They're just confusing what their mind is telling them with their intuition. You see what I mean? It's like when this person thinks back on how this person abandoned them and left them for, you know, another man or another woman, here they are thinking you might turn around and do the same freaking thing to them. And here they are thinking about that, you know, that you're going to probably turn around and do the exact same thing to them. So now it's like they're thinking, man, like they're going to play me. They're going to betray me. They're going to see me. They're going to break my freaking heart. They're going to naturally start to feel uneasy. They're going to naturally start to find themselves feeling not so safe and secure. And they're taking that and they're, you know, saying to themselves, my intuition is trying to tell me something. But it's not that their intuition is trying to tell them anything. It's just they're being, you know, reminded of past traumas and how that hurt them and how that affected them and how they don't want to go through that shit again. And now here they are involved with you, and, you know, they don't know what to expect. They don't know what to anticipate. So now they're worried and concerned, and now they're entertaining the thought of what if this happens? What if that happens? And now they're starting to feel not so safe and secure. And now they're starting to feel on edge, and now they're starting to feel like they have to be guarded. And the feeling of I have to be guarded, and now I'm on edge, and now I'm anxious, and now I'm nervous, now I'm worried. They're taking that and saying, my intuition is trying to tell me I need to stay away from them. But it's not their intuition telling them anything. So hopefully I'm making sense here. Hopefully I'm making sense here. You know, it's interesting because, you know, initially at first, you know, I was like, oh, well, you have trust and the situation's calling for you to have faith and, you know, forgiving and learning. You know, it definitely reminds me a lot of like, you know, past traumas that, you know, somebody hasn't necessarily fully, you know, dealt with and or, you know, healed from and or moved past. And I'm like, no, well, this has to be for you because they're very dead set on you and things like that. It's interesting how these cards are actually, you know, coming out, because with very soon to, you know, chemistry coming out here, this person, don't get me wrong, they are very dead set on you and what they want with you. That's kind of besides the point. They're just a little fearful right now. Not even a little bit. They're really fearful. Let me not sugarcoat this. They're very dead set on you, what they want with you. I just kind of feel like the fear that they're experiencing on their end causes them to feel like it's not safe for them to go there. But what's interesting is that you're very dead set on them and what you want with them. I just feel like they just don't understand that, or believe that, or know that, you know what I mean? And then with this energy coming out here attached to your energy, later on down the line, you might find yourself feeling like, yo, this person doesn't really want to be with me. They don't really love me. Like, they don't. Like, they're constantly, and that's another thing you have to be aware of, they're constantly trying to run away from me in this connection. It's like they're constantly looking for things to break up with me. Like, they don't love me. They don't want to be with me, because if they did, why are they constantly looking for things to like break up with me over? Like, why are they constantly trying to run in the opposite direction? They don't really love me. They're not really serious like I am. Oh, but they are. They definitely are. This is what's causing them to show up in this way. They haven't fully made peace with their past. They haven't. And because they haven't fully made peace with their past, it's kind of haunting them and affecting them. And to make matters worse, they are taking what their mind is telling them, and you know, them being reminded of like all these past traumas that they've experienced in their previous relationship. You know, they're taking all that in, they're thinking about it and thinking about it, and then now they're over here like, maybe I have to be careful, you know, with Capricorn. Maybe Capricorn might hurt me. Maybe Capricorn might betray me. Maybe Capricorn might deceive me. You know what I mean? And it's like now they're starting to feel a little bit uneasy, but it's not that their intuition is telling them anything. It's just their mind and but what if this happens? And what if that happens? And, you know, my ex put me through this and I don't want to go through this again. And what if they turn around and do this to me? You know, because I didn't think that that person from my past would do me the way they did me. So it's like, now I don't put anything fucking past anybody. And now I got to be worried about everybody. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is just like a message basically for you, because I was getting that this is definitely like a message for you. This is the reason why this person is the way that they are. This is why they're going to be the way that they are in this dynamics. Not that they don't want to be with you. It's just, there's just some past stuff that they haven't fully, you know, healed from or moved past. But it's not that they don't want to be with you. They do. They're just afraid that history is going to repeat itself. So, you know, then there's that. And then, like, you know, for them, you know, what they need to understand and just outright know and just accept is that they want this, you know, just as much as you want this, you know. And they just need to, you know, find some comfort in that they're dealing with somebody who truly wants this to work. Just like you want, you know, this relationship to be your last relationship, so do they. Like, y'all are very similar in that department. It's like, you don't want to like continue to experience failed relationship after failed relationship. Neither do they. Maybe you have kids of your own, you know. You don't want to be introducing like, you know, another guy to like your child, or another woman to your child. That you don't want to go through that shit either. You know what I mean? So, yeah. You know, it's like you guys could find yourself in the exact same boat, you know. I'm not saying that you guys have children. I mean, you guys could have children, or maybe you just have children, or maybe they just do. But the point that I'm making is that I feel like, you know, you want, you know, somebody who's going to be by your side through the good and the bad times. And I feel like they want that too. You know, I feel like they want somebody who's not going to give up on them and abandon them and leave them. Well, I feel like that's what you want too, you know. I feel like you want this to be your last relationship, and, you know, so do they. I just think that this person needs to just accept the fact, but also find comfort in the fact that your intentions are pure. It's coming from a very genuine and sincere place. You know, you want them just as much as they want you. And that's just that, you know what I mean? But this person, you know, when this does happen to your person, you know, you're a spiritually based person, you know. I mean, you harness Hierophant energy. You know, I think that you're going to, believe it or not, like, I feel like you're going to do like a wonderful job at like, I almost want to say counseling this person. You know, even though they're going to obviously be your significant other, you know, I am definitely getting it. There's times where you're going to have to like play the role of a counselor, play the role of a therapist, play the role as, you know, of a psychologist. You're going to have to play that role. And I don't see you like having an issue or just minding to, like, you know, play that role in this dynamic. But there's going to be times where you're going to have to step out of the whole being their boyfriend or girlfriend and just, you know, being their therapist, being their, you know, psychologist, being like, you know, their counselor. Like, you know, you have a lot of life experience. You're very smart. You're very intelligent. You know, and then, you know, to just make the situation so much better, you're spiritually based. You know, you're very, very spiritually based, very, very intuitive. You're very, very gifted. So I think that once this does start to occur in their life, you know, you're going to be able to break it down. Like, well, like, you know, the reason why you're constantly thinking, you know, that I'm constantly doing this behind your back, or I'm going to abandon you or leave you, is because of this, this, and this, and this. And this is what you can do to no longer think this way or feel this way. You might even break it down the same way that I broke it down. It's not their intuition. It's just, you know, them thinking about the past and what they went through and how much that hurt them and affected them and how it took them forever to overcome that and move past that. And, you know, now they're entertaining the what if this happens, what if that happens, and the reason why they don't feel good. And, you know, they're on edge and, you know, they're scattered energetically and all of these things is because they're over here thinking these things. And naturally, the more you sit there and you think about something over, you know, just, you know, it's only a matter of time before you start to feel like, oh, something's wrong. Something's, you know, just like listening to a sad song. You listen to a sad song, you're going to eventually become sad. You know, just a minute ago, you were happy, everything was great. But once you start listening to a sad song, you're listening to it over and over again, you're listening to the lyrics and stuff like that and how it applies to certain things you went through, you're going to naturally become sad. But people don't stop and sit there and be like, oh, my intuition is trying to tell me something's about to happen. No. You understand the reason why you're sad is because you're listening to a very sad song. You're thinking about the lyrics and you're applying, you know, that song to like certain things that you've experienced in life. And now you're sad. You know, they need to do the same thing when they find themselves thinking about past experiences and how that person hurt them and abandoned them and betrayed them and deceived them and left them to go be with somebody else. And, you know, now they're over here thinking, oh, you're going to turn around and do the same thing. When they start to feel, you know, they start to feel on edge or full of anxiety or full of fear, they need to stop and remind themselves, okay, the reason why I feel this way is because I was thinking all of these things. It's not because my intuition is trying to tell me anything. I was just thinking all of these things, and this is why I'm anxious right now. This is why I'm nervous right now. This is why I'm scared right now. It's not because my intuition is trying to tell me that Capricorn's doing this behind my back or that behind my back. I was just thinking about the past and how that person did me. And now I'm thinking about Capricorn, and I'm thinking about, you know, what if they're turning around and doing the same thing to me and I just don't know it. And now I feel anxious, now I feel nervous. So that must mean that my intuition is trying to tell me, no. They need to stop themselves and remind themselves the reason why I'm thinking this way, you know, is because, you know, I saw something on the TikTok, you know what I mean, that made me think this way, you know what I mean? Now I'm thinking this way, and now I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, you know? They need to stop themselves right there, and not sit there and say my intuition is trying to tell me something. They need to stop right there and tell themselves, like, okay, I feel this way because, you know, I saw something on TikTok and now I'm thinking about Capricorn and like, what if this and what if that, you know, like they need to stop themselves. Okay. Like I said, you might just break that down for them. I do believe that on this journey, you're going to be helping this person a whole lot. You know, you're going to help this person overcome their fears, their doubts, their reservations, their past traumas. You are going to help them out with that. I am definitely getting that. You're going to help this person out with that. You know, I feel like as far as like, you know, healing journey is concerned, I feel like there's certain things, you know, that we ourselves can, you know, heal from on our own, but there's just certain things that we struggle with, you know, fully healing from on our own. And sometimes we do need somebody to come in and help us out, whether that be like a therapist, you know, a significant other, a family member, a friend. In this case, whatever it is that this person has yet to overcome or fully make peace with is something that I actually see you helping them out with. It's something that I actually see you helping them, you know, overcome. I am definitely getting that. All right, so that is what I have for you. Hopefully the reading helped. Hopefully it resonated. And I will see you guys in your next